Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. We got a couple of things for you tonight. Pretty standard. We got a lake by lake report from Randy, and then we're going to go and jump into some juice, and we'll go from there. So, welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast, and we're going to hand it off to Randy. November 13th, 2025, lake report coming from Randy, East County Bait and Tackle.
How's it going, guys? It was East County Bait and Tackle here. Today we're going to talk about the trout openers coming up. We got Jenny's coming up this week. We also got Santee coming, did their trout opener last week. That went pretty well. Crowd was kind of small, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. Everyone getting a heads up. Yeah, Jenny is going to be this Saturday or Friday. They'll be open for the trout opener. And then we got, I think, Dixon, Wolford, and Poway coming in at the beginning of December, I believe. So far, the bass bite has been still pretty steady. It's been slowing down just a little bit, but I've still been hearing guys getting them on a swim bait. Still some guys getting them on top waters at LCAP and Otay. But what I see is like the best technique to be catching right now is you either drop shot or dragging a big worm. So far, I haven't been out much, but from the reports we're getting in at the shop today and throughout the week, guys are still doing it good at LCAP. Unfortunately, it is still non-launchable. So what I recommend, if guys not crowding the docks or the boat launch, try to launching a boat and doing all that stuff, is making the staff at the lake kind of on us and everyone else, especially the kayakers that's trying to just freely launch. Boats are kind of, in and out of it. Otay is still launchable. You're still able to launch your boat there. Just giving everyone that heads up. There is still Murray and Miramar. If you guys still want to fish from a boat, those are still lakes of options of choices. And I believe Skinner just actually opened their launch ramp not that long ago.
They did.
So I would definitely start hitting up. I'm not 100% sure on that. I did hear, from words, I did hear that it is open.
You might want to check on that.
I double check on that, call in on the lakes, but that is another option to go if you want to avoid the hassle at DVL with the boat check and stuff like that. But getting into the winter season, we are getting to the swim bait time of the year. We are getting our HUDs back up, and same thing with our hog hunters. We got a bunch of those up in stock as well. If you guys want to start throwing the soft bodies, I know we have been picking up on our swim bait rods here at the shop. If you guys are planning on getting into the soft bodies, getting into the seasons, we did get a bunch of St. Croix, Shimano rods, Phoenix rods in. So if you are planning in the market looking to throw some soft bodies this year, please stop by and come check out some rods.
Cool. So, so you haven't been out to San Vicente or anything?
I haven't been out to San Vicente. From what I'm hearing from a lot of guys, the bass right now are anywhere from 20 to 40 feet. A lot of them are just scoping them. There is a couple of guys beating the bank and doing okay on it, but yeah, majority of the anglers, they said for 20 to 40 feet, scoping them in the middle of the lake.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, well, thanks. I appreciate that.
No problem, of course.
All right, welcome back to the juice. Still playing with this mic here. I don't know where to set it up at. I don't know how the cool kids are doing it. New wireless mic. So anyway, the juice is, what do we got this week? Well, I'm going to give you my top 3 lures of the week for the local lakes. And this is going to go for basically San Vicente, LCAP, but it could also go for Lower Otay also. For me, last week we had the juniors tournament at San Vicente. The week before that we had a club tournament. I was in a club tournament at San Vicente. I've been fishing San Vicente a bunch, and San Vicente is right now, and I'm just going to show you my rods and reels here, right out of the boat. San Vicente for me has been all about this guy right here. And this is a free rig with a 3/16 or a 1/4 ounce weight sliding above it, a 1/0 hook or a 2/0 hook into a creature bait. And this is a 3.5 inch dew live beaver. Now I'm fishing these dew live beavers. I'm also fishing these other craws, and these are from Bottoms Up. This is a craw bait from Bottoms Up. I think you can get those at Slug Tackle. You can get the Doe Live Beavers at East County Bait and Tackle. He's got a bunch over there. Mikey's got a bunch. Both of these lures are outstanding on a free rig. My main line here is, I've actually got it on 15 pound right now. At San Vicente, I was using 10 pound, but at LCAP, I'm using 15 and getting bit pretty good. They don't care about it at LCAP. The water's a little dirtier. San Vicente, it sure seemed to help dropping down in line test. My rod, so that goes to that's a 15 pound leader. The leader is about 10 feet long. It's backed up to 30 pound braid onto a 8-to-1 fast reel. And it's a 7.5 foot 3-power medium heavy rod. So, but that's my free rig setup for here lately. And then, so that's number one. That would be the number one thing. Number two things, and this is what I've been doing here today, Monday. So today is Friday, and today I was at LCAP float tubing. I've been float tubing at LCAP, and fortunately for my float tube, it's kind of a big float tube. It's actually a pontoon boat. It's got a frame, and been able to put an electric motor on it so I can get a little further. In fact, I can go all the way to the back and then all the way back out and look for fish. On Monday, I was out there on Monday and on Monday, and it was funny to see the lake change in that amount of time. Monday, most of the fish were in the main lake, and I got on a jig minnow bite. So, which is kind of strange because I don't have forward-facing sonar on my float tube. I just have an up and down meter. I do have a meter, but it's just a 2D with a little GPS and plotter, a little GPS plotter. But I got on a jig minnow bite, like a jig head, minnow body, casting it out there, and winding it back. And the fish are all over it. They love it. They've been biting. And so I got on that on Monday. And it's kind of funny. Okay, so here it is. This is my jig minnow rod and outfit that I've been using right now. And so my favorite minnow is either just a regulation sonar minnow. I don't have any of those right now. Or you can go high dig and go with the Sakamata shad. I went through a package of Sakamatas today, and I went through almost a package the other day on Monday. And then once I got through with these, I went through a package of them. I only had a package of them. I was out on my float tube, but it's not like I have a big ton of them like I do on my boat. And it didn't matter what color. I had 3 different colors in that one package. So once I got done with, they're soft and they rip up. You catch a fish on them, they jump and they rip them and do whatever. So I put on a Kitech, a regulation 2.8 Kitech on a ball head. I thought, oh, okay, well, they're biting and I'll just catch them on this. Well, they did not bite that. They did not bite the little flappy tail going through the water. They didn't want it. They didn't want it at all. I didn't get a short bite on it. And I was throwing it like into the boilers. So what I came up with is I took the little 2.8 Kitech and I cut the tail. So here's my 2.8 Kitech, right? That's a 2.8. That's a rainbow shad. I don't think the color matters too much. The color didn't matter much, as long as it was kind of shad colored. And you can see the tail. And so I cut the tail. And now it didn't waddle back and forth. So now I could throw it out there. And this is a range roller head. And this is like a number 2 hook and a 3/32 head. But now it rocks back and forth without the tail. So came up with that on a spur of the moment, and it worked. And I caught a handful of fish on this. So that was cool. My jig minnow setup has a loop knot. This is a non-slip loop knot or a pollen knot, or what I call it the non-slip loop knot, as you can see. And that allows it to rock back and forth as you're bringing it back to you. My rod, or let's see, my line here this is actually 10 pound. I've been using 10 pound because they're biting it. And I mean, why not? This is attached to it's like 3-foot leader, not very long at all. The leader is attached to my main line, my braid, and that is 8-pound braid. So I got 10-pound leader going to 8-pound braid. Rod is, let's see here if I can get this. So I know this is upside down, but this is an iRod Quarkus, kind of the high-end iRod. And this is their forward-facing sonar / jerkbait spinning rod. This is a 610. He's made this for jig minnows, fishing jig minnows, and it does a great job. It's super light. It's crazy how light it is, but works good. Shaking that rod tip and winding it back slow at the same time, shaking it and getting that minnow to rock back and forth, going through those breakers. And it was actually a pretty slow presentation. One thing that I noticed, which was cool with the jig minnow today and on Monday, was that I could just pull up to a rock pile or whatever that I presumed to have fish on it, that looked good. Maybe it was in the right area. And I could throw that jig minnow out there and then just work it past the rock pile, and they would come up and eat it without seeing any breakers or anything. And I could catch 1, 2, 3, 4 fish that way off of rock piles on the jig minnow. And then I would go through it, and I said I really wanted to catch crankbait fish today. I caught 1 crankbait fish today. I went through it with a crankbait, nothing. Went through it with an Arig, nothing. They did not want the Arig today. But even though that is my 3rd favorite thing, that is my 3rd favorite lure this week, would be the Arig. And that has to do with Otay. And there's a number of fish. Now there's conflicting reports coming out of Otay right now. There are some guys that are on them, of course, as there always is. And then some guys are telling me that it's really tough down there. So the guys that are on them. I hope I don't get in trouble for this or whatever, but it's the right time of year for this and this and that. But they're catching them on the A-rig down there at Otay, and I'm hoping to go tomorrow if it's not raining too much. It's supposed to rain 1.5 inches today, tonight, tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm gonna make it. So, but they are biting the A-rig. It is November. This is the classic start of the A-rig season. And you guys, I know I went through the A-rig, so I'm not going to show it to you today, but we went through the A-rig last week and showed you my specifics for the A-rig, and it's holding true. In fact, it's kind of funny because after I did that last weekend, well, 2 weeks ago now, Nick Meyer won the San Diego Bassmasters Club Tournament at San Vicente on an A-rig, and he waxed us all on an A-rig, and so I was really happy for him. But it's just that time of year, they work, and but you need the right conditions for it. You need low light, you need some kind of wind. Those two things help a lot. If it's flat, slick, calm, then the A-rig's really not the one you want to grab. Another thing about A-rigs is what you want to think about is it's not just a surface kind of lure where you just pitch it out and wind it in. A lot of times, and I was talking with Nick about this, and what he was doing was he was throwing it out there, watching it sink down to a level of just a couple of feet above the brush in San Vicente, and then winding it back and watching those fish come out of the brush and eat that A-rig. So a lot of times you should be fishing that A-rig down 20, even 30 feet, 15 to 30 feet, and watch how it's coming and make sure that it's in a close proximity to brush or rock or whatever. So make sure that you're putting those A-rigs in the right place. Don't just throw them out there and wind them in. Granted, a lot of times that's all it takes, but many times you need to let it sink. Let it sink, get it down there, and you'll get way more bites. And that's basically what your juice is for today. We got the free rig, we had the jig minnow, and the A-rig. That jig minnow, that's a player. I had a lot of fun with it today. I had just one thing, one thing about saying good fishing and bad fishing and whatever. It's like good fishing. Somebody will come in the shop and they'll be like, man, it was great. It was great fishing at such and such place. And to me, in my head, I have an idea of what great fishing is. But in his head, in this other person's head, he's got a wholly different idea of what great fishing is. And it can send you down the wrong road for sure. His sense of great fishing or his terms for great fishing is different than yours. So what we've done in the past, or what I've learned in the past, is just give them the numbers, and then let them decipher what great fishing is. Now, okay, so I feel that I had good fishing today, but in my terms, what is good fishing? What is good? Well, the fishing, the conditions were great. The conditions were freaking epic. It was overcast. It was kind of rainy. There was not very much wind, and the fish were kind of boiling around, and they were biting. Anyway, I had 28 fish to hand. My biggest fish was like 3.5 pounds. I didn't catch any big ones, but 28 fish in a float tube chasing breakers, they were biting. If I was in a boat, it would have been good. It'd have been really good. Forward-facing sonar, holy smokes. I don't know how many I would have caught. But that also has to do with the amount of people there. And there's not boats running over the breakers. so and there's nobody chasing breakers. Like all the float tube or kayak guys, float tube guys, they're all on the bank. They're all, I don't know what they're doing because, I hope that still works. I don't know what they're doing. I couldn't catch very much fish on the bank today. I tried, but I could pull up to a breakers. If I could get within casting range, and land that little jig minnow in the proximity of those fish, of those breaking fish, which is not big spots. They were small spots, and they weren't up for very long. They bit, but I have to say that they're biting because nobody's running over them, and I'm not in a boat. I'm not. That's got this big old thing pushing water towards these breaking fish. I'm just in a little float tube, and it doesn't scare them. In fact, I got bites on that jig minnow, like, working it back, and they would bite it. Sometimes they would follow it all the way to the freaking float tube and bite it like right there, like a rod tip, like a rod length away, like scared me a couple times, like, oh my God, like, dang. So anyway, that's what it was. That's what I did today. And I got out there pretty close to first thing. I was there at 6, I think I was on the water at 6:30 this morning, and I fished until 2 o'clock. That's it. That was the LCAP report. The other day I had 14 fish, and it was in a variety of things. Doing a variety of things. That day they did want some different stuff. I caught them on a crankbait in the morning, caught them on a jig minnow, caught some on an Arig, caught some on dragging with the free rig. Just what I showed you, that little bottoms up bait. This thing's been good at cap. This little bottoms up. I know I'm jumping around now, but sorry. This little bottoms up bait, it's good. I think they have them up at Slug Fishing. Go up there and see Timmy. If he doesn't have them, he can get them for you. And it's actually not a small bait. It's actually kind of big. But this thing works good. Works great on a free rig. I caught a 4.5 pounder on it the other day at Cap. Just pitching it up into the rocks and just like bumping it back, and that worked really good. So that's about it. That's what's going on, and hope that helps you guys out and your future endeavors. And we will talk to you next week.